In our gospel reading this upcoming Sunday, we have Mark's version of Peter's response to Jesus' question, "Who do you say that I am?" And we could focus on that part, understanding Peter's correct response, but also his imprecise understanding of what that really means for them. And it's a reality in all of our hearts, I think, to some extent, that when we turn and follow Jesus, when we accept him into his life, we desire maybe full restoration of our hearts and lives here and now. We desire everything to be made right now. And one of the things that Jesus is teaching by the prediction of his passion and what he's going to undergo is not just the fact that it's by his suffering and death and resurrection that our restoration is brought about, but also the fact that we have to pass through those same things ultimately to come to the full restoration that we so desire for our lives. So we're really in the same boat as Peter was in that misunderstanding or just the struggling of the desires of our hearts. I mean, the reality is, like, passing through this life, there's that conflict, there's that tension between being satisfied here and now and being satisfied ultimately in heaven. And we have to work through those things. And Jesus is talking to the disciples, saying that whoever wishes to follow him must take up his cross daily and follow him. To just be preserved from the challenges of life, the destruction of life, to be preserved from discomfort, is not what Jesus has come for, and it's not what our lives are all about as well, just to be preserved from the difficult things. But the reality is that on the other side of the challenges of this life comes the resurrection that Jesus promises us. And as we look at this whole scenario, it is counterintuitive maybe, but you look back to the Old Testament in the first reading here today, and we see that the prophet Isaiah is foretelling what the Messiah would be like, what he would undergo, and he willingly submits himself to suffering. Now for Jesus, it was literally, taking up his cross and, going to his death, his execution on the cross. And for us, there are times where people actually go to, the cross, if you will, or to their death for their faith. But, practically speaking, Jesus really does say, daily taking up your cross. And, I think just two things really come to mind, for me as I reflect on these readings this week. One is just discipline, right? The discipline of our lives. You think about how many times, and this is kind of a silly example, but, think about the desserts you go back to, the second cookie or the third cookie or the fourth cookie or whatever. At some point you have to say enough is enough, and to live your life in a disciplined sort of way, one that recognizes that that's not going to fulfill me, that's not going to make me happy, it's not even going to satisfy the full desire of my heart in this particular moment. But if I continue down that road, I'm going to feel like total garbage and not be able to draw near to the Lord because I feel apart from him. The same thing in the moral life as well, in a variety of different ways. But just being disciplined in the things that keep our hearts aligned so that we may be disposed to draw near to the Lord. But our second reading today also really plays a role in our understanding of what it means to take up our cross daily, and that's truly to do the works that God has set forth for us, to help provide for the needs of others. And sometimes, to go out and help other people is to deny ourselves, whatever comfort or particular desire I have in this moment. And sometimes it's a real sacrifice of the goods that we may even need or may want, for the sake of allowing someone else to be provided for. So there's real sacrifice in that, whether that be our time and our comfort, or the things that we have that other people could use. So, St. James draws us into the fact that, to believe in Jesus is one thing, to live in Jesus is another, and that takes a sacrifice of our wants and desires for the sake of the needs of other people. So let us not get caught up as Peter did in trying to preserve Jesus' life from the dangers and sacrifices and destruction that he ultimately faced. And the same goes, for our own selves. Let's not get caught up for ourselves in just merely preserving ourselves from the discomforts of life, but truly putting our faith and trust in Jesus, taking up our cross and walking in the Christian life, providing for the needs of others, sacrificing some of our wants and desires so that we can be better disposed to the Lord. Let us take up our crosses daily and follow him.